We want to bring in the spirit.
We want to bring in the spirit
of Sylvia Rivera.
Of Sylvia Rivera.
To make sure she's alive and present.
Alive and present.
In this space.
In this space.
Sylvia Rivera.
Sylvia Rivera.
And countless other trans.
And countless other trans.
And gender nonconforming people.
And gender nonconforming people.
Have a strong legacy.
Have a strong legacy.
In the movements for self-determination.
In the movements for self-determination.
Maybe you were there.
Maybe you were there.
Or you already know.
Or you already know.
That the chant, "Whose streets?"
That the chant, "Whose streets?"
Our streets.
Our streets.
Was first chanted.
Was first chanted.
At the 1969.
At the 1969.
Stonewall Rebellion.
Stonewall Rebellion.
An uprising.
An uprising.
Against the policing.
Against the policing.
Of our communities.
Of our communities.
Queer. And trans. And gender nonconforming.
And gender nonconforming.
Communities.
Communities.
It was first chanted. By trans revolutionaries.
By trans revolutionaries.
Like Sylvia Rivera.
Like Sylvia Rivera.
After the Stonewall Uprising.
After the Stonewall Uprising.
Sylvia Rivera.
Sylvia Rivera.
Marsha P. Johnson.
Marsha P. Johnson.
And others.
And others.
Formed STAR.
Formed STAR.
Street. Transvestite.
Transvestite.
Action.
Action.
Revolutionaries.
Revolutionaries.
Maybe you took part in.
Maybe you took part in.
Or you already learned.
Or you already learned.
That STAR's first protest.
That STAR's first protest.
Was an occupation.
Was an occupation.
Of New York University.
Of New York University.
STAR decided.
STAR decided.
Occupying NYU was necessary. After NYU refused to allow two queer dance parties to happen at the university. And then called in the NYPD. To disrupt the protesters. Protesting this. STAR explained to their allies. Why they were occupying NYU. Rather than leaving with everyone else. They wrote. All that we fought for. At Weinstein Hall. Was lost. When we left. Upon the request. Of the pigs. You people run. If you want to. But we're tired of running. We intend to fight. For our rights. Until we get them. That's what's happening. In this blow up. Of Marsha P. Johnson. Protesting. In front of NYU. You might have worked with her. Or known that same year. Sylvia Rivera organized the first annual Christopher Street Liberation March. Now known as Gay Pride. Correction. Now known as Corporate Gay Pride. Which ended on purpose at the Women's House of Detention Center. In order to connect the mass incarceration of people of color, of queer people, of trans people, with the ongoing organizing done with other revolutionary organizations like the Black Panther Party. It was no coincidence that a Afeni Shakur, and Joan Bird were currently incarcerated at the Women's House of Detention Center when the first annual Christopher Street Liberation March arrived there chanting, "Free ourselves!
Free ourselves!
Free our sisters!
Free our sisters!
Free ourselves!
Free ourselves!
Free our sisters!"
Free our sisters!
Like many of us here, Sylvia Rivera knew that the police in the prisons are fundamentally racist and transphobic institutions designed to control our lives and deliver our deaths. She knew it was vital to connect this movement with other organizations doing revolutionary work to promote self-determination. In order to free ourselves and free our siblings, Sylvia knew she had to build a mass movement.